Okay, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about the static uh, talk groups and user-activated talk groups using the SharkRF OpenSPOT. You may be familiar with your local DMR repeater, how it has talk groups that are static. In other words, talk groups that are permanent. If there's traffic on those talk groups, it's automatically going to come through. Of course, first come, first serve, and that's something that the repeater owner has decided himself. You know what will be permanent and what talk groups would be user activated. Well, the SharkRF OpenSPOT is basically your own repeater, and so with that too, you have the opportunity to decide what talk groups you would like to make static, if any, so that they automatically come through on your radio. So I was just going to show a little bit using the Brandmaster website. That's what was needed to establish what talk groups you want to make static or not. And it's the Brandmaster dashboard. It does require you register, so you see I am logged in. There's my avatar, and this is the default page. If you click on the menu on the bottom, since I do have a hotspot set up, you're going to have that option at the end. Click on that. There's my DMR ID. Okay, so it's going to take you to a page where you can edit options for your hotspot. Your OpenSPOT. And let's see, a little slow connection there. This isn't my main primary cell phone, so it doesn't have high-speed data on it. So here, this is the edit page. I'm going to go ahead and just click view, just so we can see the regular page. Why it's so bright here. Let's see if I can. Okay, so what I want to show you mostly is, okay, it's still loading right here. Slot details. This is where it's going to list the talk groups that you have set as static. All right, so you see I do have quite a few here. These are mostly local talk groups. 3174 is the Southeast region talk group. 31121 is First Coast DMR. 31112 is Florida statewide. 311307 is another local talk group that's pretty active here. 913 I believe is worldwide English, and then these 3112904 is the local Aries group, and 3111242 that's my nearest DMR repeater, the local channel. So these, even though I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 talk groups, they're not very active. So my radio is not going on all the time. If you were to put, there's a transmission there on First Coast DMR. If you were to put the talk group like USA 3100 or TAC 310, those are very popular talk groups, and I did have them on here as static, but it pretty much dominated all the traffic coming into the radio. So I decided not to do that. Okay, so that's that. Now, how to input those talk groups? If I go back to edit, okay, static talk groups is what we're looking for. If you click on, it says 0 selected. If you click on that drop down, okay, there goes the static talk groups that I have established. Let's first show you how to add one. Click on the empty box. Let's say I want to add USA nationwide 3100. You just enter the talk group number and right arrow will accept that. And I believe you'll get a message on the top right. No? Okay, not this time. So, let's see if it shows up here. Okay, USA Nationwide. So now 3100 is part of my static talk groups. If all is quiet and somebody talks on any one of these, it should come through. So that's how you add one. Okay. Now let's say you want to, you decide like I did that 3100 is too active. You're missing out on some of the other ones. You can go into here to select your talk group. Let's select 3100. We'll go ahead and do select 2 just for showing here. Say OK. So now you have 2 selected. You want to hit the back arrow, and that's going to. So it does say success there. Before, it used to have a little window that would pop up here, pretty much letting you know the same thing. But anyway, if you look at the list now, those 2 talk groups, it's showing a little double here. Anyway, probably a little glitch. But yeah, 3100's gone and 913. Let's just refresh that. So the change is pretty instant. If you look at my radio here, I have the volume off so we didn't hear it, but somebody did transmit on 3100 just a second ago while I had it as static, and it did come through. And of course I'm using the promiscuous mode, so even though I'm on the Florida channel, any activity on these talk groups that I have as static are going to show. Okay. Okay, so it got a little glitchy there. There's the talk groups 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I have. All right. So let's say I do want to go to 3100. It's not a static group, so if it's not static, then it's user activated. So I just simply, this is a favorites, what I call a favorites zone. It has some of the talk groups that I frequently listen to. Not a big talker, but I listen to. So there's USA Nationwide. So if I do want to hear that, I just simply push the talk to activate it, and it's already into the conversation. Now, if you push the talk and somebody's in the middle of a transmission, you're not going to hear that transmission right away, but the next key up should come through, and that's what you're seeing here.
And we got about 65 DMR repeaters located here in Ohio, so it's really becoming popular. Seems like every week we're getting more.
So now this becomes the dynamic talk group that's active on my OpenSPOT. If I turn off the radio, turn off the OpenSPOT, come back tomorrow, turn it on, 3100 is going to remain the active talk group, being the last one that I was using. Even though it's not set as a static group on my hotspot options, it's what was used last, and so the OpenSPOT remembers that. For me to disconnect this talk group, I have to physically do it. And for that, I have so you see the promiscuous mode here. It doesn't matter what channel I go to, it's going to come through. But I have if you see there a quick second, I have a disconnect talk group. I believe it's 4,000 saved in this list. and
You had the 60-foot tower.
you push that.
The beams and all that.
Now, I believe I have to wait until
you
there's a gap in transmissions here.
And,
So let's go ahead and wait for that to happen.
Great for people in your later years.
And then, so
like I say,
that will
you just can't
send a signal to my open spot
the audio,
saying disconnect
talk to somebody in
the
Australia or
whatever
like
active
yourself,
talk group
everybody's
is.
audio is great. And you don't have to put up with the static, and you don't have to be worried about whether the rotors are working or the wind and how it's affecting your antennas and all that thing there, by golly. But anyhow, I certainly do appreciate the comeback.
Okay.
I haven't been on here for a week.
Let's see.
And I thought, well, just check around there
Anything
and
else
see
I
if
wanted to
things
show
are
you here?
working by golly. And they are, so I'm tickled to death about it, by golly. So, back to you, KK3J.
Okay, so there's a gap, so disconnect, and the hot open spot should talk to you, yeah. Okay, so now I'm disconnected from that active group, and the open spot goes back to my settings, my static groups, and I guess it takes a minute or so if there's activity on one of them for them to come in. It's not necessarily instant that traffic's going to start coming in after you disconnect. Okay, so I think that's pretty much what I want to discuss in this video. Again, just the ability, just like any repeater owner has, you with the open spot, you have the ability to set your own static talk groups, and the idea is maybe you have 2 or 3 talk groups that are your favorites, and you don't want to miss activity on them. You don't want to always have to push to talk to hear them. You just set them as static on your hotspot options, again in the Brandmeister dashboard, and you can just come in here and make adjustments anytime, as whatever suits you, which is kind of nice. So it's pretty neat. That's something that I didn't know when I first got it or understand. So again, that's try to help others. I don't at all claim to be an expert on here, but I try to share some stuff that I've learned, perhaps the hard way or the long way, and just would like to maybe share it with other new users. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.